Have you ever been judged for something you didn't do? Have whispers followed you, shadows of mistakes that weren't yours, shaping how everyone saw you? Imagine being abandoned, betrayed, left to rebuild a life while the world points fingers, and then, just when you think no one will ever see the real you, someone does. Someone looks beyond the lies, beyond the scandal, beyond the past you thought you'd buried forever. Would you trust them? Could you open your heart again? That was the question Amaka Obi faced every day. At 28, she had learned that Lagos had no mercy for the fallen. Society whispered about her past, friends turned distant, and suitors vanished the moment rumors touched her name. Yet here she was, standing at the threshold of her modest fashion boutique in Victoria Island, Lagos, ready to face another day with her chin high and her heart guarded. The boutique smelled faintly of jasmine and leather, a carefully chosen scent meant to make clients feel welcome. The walls were lined with garments that she had designed herself, each stitch a testament to her resilience. But resilience did not make society forget the scandal that had nearly destroyed her reputation years ago. Flashback. 3 years earlier, Amaka had been accused of embezzling funds at her previous job. Though innocent, the accusation was enough to shatter her career. Colleagues turned on her, clients withdrew, and her family had tried to shield her, but the shame still lingered. The scandal spread like wildfire across social media, a stain that refused to fade. "Your past may shape you," her father had told her, "but it does not define you." Yet living that truth in a city where judgment was swift and relentless proved lonely. That morning, as she arranged new arrivals of fabric and accessories, the boutique door jingled. A man stepped in, tall, sharply dressed, with an air of quiet confidence. He surveyed the boutique with a discerning eye, but when his gaze settled on Amaka, there was a softness, a recognition she couldn't place. "Good morning," he said, voice calm, carrying warmth that made the air in the room shift. "I've heard about your designs. I wanted to see them myself." Amaka, used to judgment and curiosity, braced herself. The man didn't ask about the scandal. He didn't question her past. He simply looked at her, at the work she had poured her heart into, at the woman who had survived whispers and betrayal and offered respect. His name was Daniel Okoye. At first, she saw him as another client, perhaps another fleeting connection. But something about his presence, the way he treated her without assumptions, sparked a mixture of curiosity and caution. Could she allow herself to hope again? Could she trust someone who seemed immune to the prejudices that had haunted her for years? Outside, Lagos hummed with life cars honking, street vendors calling, the city alive with possibility and chaos. Inside the boutique, a quiet tension settled. Amaka would soon discover that Daniel was not just another man passing through her life. He would challenge her notions of trust, love, and redemption, and perhaps show her that the past she feared most could become the bridge to her future. The first step had been taken. And, for the first time in years, Amaka wondered if someone might finally see her for who she truly was, not the shadows she had left behind. The next morning, the Lagos sun poured through the boutique's large windows, reflecting off polished marble floors and bright fabrics. Amaka adjusted a display of hand-sewn dresses, her mind restless from the previous day's encounter. Daniel Okoye's visit had lingered in her thoughts longer than she expected. There was something different about him, something that went beyond the usual polite interest or fleeting curiosity that most men showed. As if on cue, the boutique door jingled again. She glanced up and froze. Daniel was back, carrying a sleek leather folder under his arm. "Good morning, Amaka," he said, voice calm, steady, yet carrying an undertone of intent. "I had some ideas I wanted to share about expanding your designs." Amaka's instinct was caution. She had been burned before trusting people had never ended well. Yet, there was something in Daniel's eyes, a sincerity that contradicted the judgments she was used to. Slowly, she gestured toward the seating area. "All right, let's hear them." Daniel unfolded the folder and laid out sketches and business strategies with meticulous care. His words were measured, encouraging, not condescending. He praised her creativity while suggesting ways to reach high-end clients and expand her influence across Lagos. Amaka listened, initially skeptical, but gradually her curiosity grew. Flashback. Her father's words echoed in her mind. "Not everyone will understand your journey, Amaka. The wise will see your worth. The patient will walk with you." She realized that Daniel might be one of those rare souls. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of a former colleague, Tund, who sneered at her from across the boutique. "Still running this little shop? I thought you'd have disappeared by now," he said, his tone sharp and mocking. Amaka's cheeks burned, but Daniel stepped forward subtly. "Amaka is doing incredibly well," he said, calmly but firmly. "You should focus on your own work instead of judging others." Tund faltered, clearly unsettled by Daniel's composed authority. Amaka's pulse quickened, not from fear but from a sense of relief. Someone was finally seeing her, defending her without probing into the mistakes she hadn't made. Over the next few weeks, Daniel continued to visit the boutique regularly. He offered advice, helped Amaka negotiate with suppliers, and even attended small fashion events with her. Slowly, the walls she had built around her heart began to crumble. She found herself sharing stories of her past, not the scandal that had ruined her, but the lessons, the betrayals, and the moments of quiet resilience. Each story he listened to, nodded at, and never judged. Each small gesture, picking up packages, arranging meetings, supporting her publicly, became a thread weaving trust between them. Foreshadowing, Daniel's motives remained partly. The warm Lagos breeze filtered through the boutique's open windows, carrying with it the distant hum of city life. Amaka adjusted a rack of freshly delivered designs, each stitch a testament to her resilience. Business was picking up, and for the first time in years, she felt the faint thrill of hope. Daniel had become a constant presence, encouraging, supportive, and utterly patient, but life, as Lagos often reminded her, never offered ease without trials. That evening, Amaka's childhood friend, Kioma, arrived. Her smile was wide but forced, her eyes flickering with subtle unease. "Amaka, it's been ages," she said, stepping inside. Yet, Amaka sensed a tension beneath the words. Kioma had always been envious, but Amaka had never imagined how deep the jealousy ran. "Kioma, it's good to see you," Amaka replied cautiously, offering tea. Kioma's gaze swept over the boutique with a subtle flicker of disdain. This is impressive," she said. "You've really come a long way. But, some people still talk." Amaka stiffened. Society's whispers had always haunted her, but hearing them hinted at a betrayal from someone she trusted. "Talk? About what?" Kioma hesitated, then smirked. "About your past. You know how Lagos is. People are curious. And there's talk about your connection with Daniel. People wonder why he spends so much time with you." Amaka's heart sank. The very whispers she had worked to escape were creeping back, amplified by someone she considered a friend. "Kioma, why are you saying this?" she asked, her voice tight. Kioma leaned in, lowering her voice. "I just thought you should know. Not everyone trusts you, Amaka. Maybe you shouldn't let anyone get too close." Even him. Amaka's mind raced. Had she misjudged Kioma's intentions? Was the loyalty she thought existed around her only an illusion? Doubt crept in, threatening to undo the fragile trust she had begun to feel with Daniel. Just then, the boutique door jingled. Daniel entered, his presence immediately filling the room with calm authority. He caught Amaka's worried gaze and without hesitation stepped closer. "Amaka, is everything all right?" he asked, voice steady yet filled with genuine concern. Kioma faltered under Daniel's calm scrutiny, shifting uncomfortably. "I was just," she began, but the words died in the air. Daniel looked at Amaka directly, his eyes unwavering. "You've worked hard to rebuild your life. No whispers, no rumors, no past mistakes can change the person you are now. Don't let anyone else decide your worth." Amaka felt warmth bloom through her chest. In that moment, she realized that Daniel's presence was more than kindness. It was unwavering loyalty. Unlike Kioma, he didn't judge her, and he didn't spread fear. He believed in her, and that belief was more powerful than any gossip. Flashback. The night Daniel had first walked into the boutique, he had told her, "Some people see shadows where there is light. But I see the light." Now, those words resonated deeper than ever. That night, as Lagos glittered beneath the stars, Amaka confided in Daniel fully, her fears, her past, and her lingering doubt. He listened patiently, never interrupting, never judging. Each word she spoke became a bridge between her past and the future she could finally envision. Foreshadowing, while Daniel's loyalty was clear, Kiyoma's subtle envy hinted at larger societal pressures and future betrayals. Amaka's journey would test trust, reveal hidden motives, and prepare her for a revelation that could change everything. For the first time in years, Amaka felt that trust could be more than a dream, it could be real, even in a city that thrived on judgment. The sun had just begun its lazy descent over the Lagos skyline, painting golden streaks across the high-rise buildings. Amaka's boutique buzzed with clients, each drawn to her unique designs and the quiet strength she exuded. Business was thriving, but with visibility came attention, and not all attention was welcome. That afternoon, a glossy magazine reporter appeared unannounced, notebook in hand and eyes flickering with curiosity. "Amaka Obi, may I have a word?" she asked, her tone polite but probing. "We're doing a feature on rising entrepreneurs, but there's something we need to clarify. Some people claim you had a controversial past. Would you care to comment?" Amaka's heart tightened. Her past, the scandal that had almost destroyed her, was still a shadow that refused to fade. She glanced at Daniel, whose calm gaze met hers, steady as ever. His presence reminded her she wasn't alone. "I'm happy to talk about my work and my journey," Amaka said, her voice composed but firm. "As for my past, I believe my actions today speak louder than rumors from yesterday." The reporter nodded, sensing the firmness behind the words. Yet she persisted, "Some say Daniel's involvement in your business is unusual. Do you think people will question your credibility?" Amaka's pulse quickened. This was the moment where the city's judgment could strike again, threatening everything she had rebuilt. Daniel placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Amaka is capable of building her success," he said calmly. "She doesn't need validation from whispers." The magazine feature ran a week later, and as expected, the public's reaction was mixed. Social media buzzed with opinionated commentary. Some celebrated Amaka's talent and resilience, while others dug into her past, attempting to diminish her achievements. It was a storm of judgment that could have shattered her confidence, but Daniel remained her anchor. Flashback. Daniel remembered his own family's struggles years ago, when false accusations had led to lost jobs and broken relationships. He had seen firsthand how society loved to judge before understanding. Now he channeled that experience into protecting Amaka, not with force, but with patience and unwavering support. Despite the growing pressure, Amaka's resolve strengthened. She organized a showcase event inviting influential clients, mentors, and supportive friends. Daniel helped coordinate, but he never overshadowed her. He was her shield, her silent advocate, and her unwavering companion. On the day of the event, as Lagos elite gathered, Kiyoma arrived again. This time her expression was a mix of envy and disbelief. She whispered to others about Amaka's past, but Daniel's presence beside Amaka seemed to repel negativity, lending authority to her every gesture. Amaka moved confidently, engaging with clients, narrating her journey of resilience and subtly turning the judgment into admiration. By the evening's end, the boutique had secured several high-profile contracts, and Amaka felt a surge of empowerment. She realized that societal gossip could not dictate her life. She had faced judgment, betrayal, and whispers, but she had emerged stronger, supported by someone who saw her true worth. Foreshadowing. Yet, as the night drew to a close, a mysterious letter arrived at the boutique. Its contents would reveal a secret about Daniel's past. A connection that neither Amaka nor the audience could anticipate, a twist that would challenge the trust they had built and set the stage for the story's climax. Amaka held the envelope in her hands, heart pounding. The storm had calmed, but the next challenge had already begun. The boutique was quiet the following morning. Sunlight streamed through the glass windows, illuminating the fabric and polished floors, but the calm was deceptive. Amaka stared at the mysterious envelope she had received the night before. It was unmarked, simple, yet it carried a weight that made her fingers tremble. With a deep breath, she tore it open. Inside was a letter typed formal yet strangely personal. Her eyes scanned the words. "Dear Amaka, you deserve to know the truth. Daniel's interest in you is not coincidental. Years ago, a woman very much like you, innocent, talented, wronged by society, was central to a tragedy that shaped him. He has never revealed this to anyone, but his unwavering support comes from understanding pain like yours. He sees the person, not the rumor, because he has been through a similar journey. Trust him, but know this. His past is as complicated as your own. Amaka's heart raced. Was Daniel hiding something? She remembered his calm demeanor, the patience, the loyalty, but now she realized there was more beneath the surface. Questions flooded her mind. Why hadn't he told her sooner? What had he endured? Could she trust someone whose past might intersect with hers in ways she couldn't yet imagine? That afternoon, Daniel arrived, his presence as steady and reassuring as always. Amaka confronted him gently. Daniel, I received a letter about you. About your past. Is it true? Daniel paused, a shadow crossing his usually serene face. He nodded slowly, eyes sincere. Yes, Amaka. Years ago, my sister faced a scandal, false accusations, betrayal by people she trusted. I saw the world turn on her. She lost friends, her career, her dignity. I promised myself I would never let someone I care about face that alone again. That's why I am here, why I stay. I see you, Amaka, because I remember her, and I remember how it felt to have no one on your side. Amaka's eyes softened. The revelation was powerful, yet instead of fear, she felt connection. They were linked not by scandal, but by understanding, by empathy, and by resilience. Both had walked through fire, and both had emerged scarred yet strong. Flashback. Daniel remembered sitting beside his sister late at night, holding her hand as she wept over lies and judgment. He vowed silently, "No one I care about will ever face the world alone." That vow had carried him through years of life until he met Amaka. With the truth revealed, Amaka felt a mixture of relief and empowerment. Daniel had been honest in action, even if not in words. His past was complicated, yes, but it mirrored hers in ways that made their bond unbreakable. Foreshadowing for the climax, while Daniel's honesty strengthened trust, a public opportunity loomed: a major fashion showcase with investors, media, and critics watching closely. Success would prove Amaka's talent and resilience to the world, but failure could revive whispers, betrayals, and doubt. As Lego's evening lights flickered against the horizon, Amaka and Daniel stood together, facing the unknown. Their combined strength, the understanding born of past hardships, would determine whether society's judgments or their own courage would define the next chapter of their lives. The twist had been revealed, but the ultimate test was yet to come. The morning of the fashion showcase arrived, and Lagos shimmered under the bright, relentless sun. Amaka's boutique had transformed overnight into a staging ground for her dreams, mannequins lined with intricate designs, polished floors reflecting the golden light, and the scent of fresh fabric mingling with the city's hum. Daniel arrived first, carrying calm reassurance like armor. "You're ready," he said, his voice steady, his eyes locking with hers. And no past, no whispers, no judgment can change that. Amaka smiled, a mixture of nerves and determination. The event attracted the city's elite: investors, media representatives, and critics who had once whispered doubt. Kioma and Tund lingered in the crowd, curiosity and envy twisting their expressions. But for the first time, Amaka felt untouchable, not because society had changed, but because she had. As the showcase began, each model walked the runway with her designs, and each design told a story of resilience, artistry, and triumph overshadowed pasts. Cameras flashed, pens scribbled, and murmurs of admiration replaced whispers of judgment. Amaka's heart raced as she realized that her life, once defined by scandal, was now illuminated by achievement. Behind her, Daniel's presence was unwavering. He had fought silently alongside her, negotiating deals, deflecting gossip, and reminding her of her worth when doubt crept in. He didn't need to announce his support. Every subtle gesture spoke volumes. Flashback. The memory of Daniel at the boutique months ago, defending her from Kioma's veiled jealousy, replayed vividly. He had said, "No one gets to write your story but you." Now she understood that words alone were never enough, actions mattered, and Daniel had proven this every day. The final segment of the showcase approached. Amaka stepped forward to address the crowd, her voice strong but warm. "Thank you for witnessing my work," she said. "But more importantly, I hope you see that our past does not define our future. We all have shadows we carry, but it's the courage to rise above them that truly matters." A pause. A deep breath. Then applause erupted, echoing through the venue. The media cameras captured every smile, every nod of approval, and for the first time, Amaka felt the weight of societal judgment lift completely. Kioma's envy faltered. Tun's skepticism dissolved into reluctant admiration. Those who had doubted her were now witnesses to her unwavering resolve. And standing beside her, Daniel smiled, the pride in his eyes unspoken but undeniable. As the event closed, the couple stepped out onto the balcony, Lagos stretching endlessly beneath them. The city's noise faded into a quiet understanding between two people who had survived storms, judgment, and betrayal. Daniel took Amaka's hand gently. "You've come so far," he said. "And the world finally sees it too, but it was always you, not them, who defined your worth." Amaka's eyes glistened. "I couldn't have done it without you," she whispered. "Not just for the support, but for believing in me when I couldn't even believe in myself." He smiled softly. "Sometimes the right person doesn't judge your past. They see your heart, your strength, and they help you rise." As Lagos glittered in the twilight, the lesson was clear. Love, patience, and true understanding can heal even the deepest scars. Shadows of the past may linger, but courage, resilience, and someone willing to see beyond your mistakes can transform them into stepping stones for a brighter future. And in that moment, Amaka knew she had not just survived her past. She had conquered it.